In the previous video, we looked at the set visibility action in business rules. In this video, we look at the show error message action in business rules. Now let's imagine a scenario where if the user is entering data for address 1 street 2 in the account and he forgot to enter data for address 1 street 1. So it makes no sense, right? So if that's the case, then what we can do is if the street 2 is populated and street 1 is blank, then we can throw an error message saying that street 1 should also be filled if the street 2 is populated. Okay, so let's take a look at how to implement this. So I'm going to the default solution. Just going to click on new. Okay, so let me give my business rule name first. I'm going to call it address 1 street 1 business rule. Okay, now I'm going to configure my condition. So I'm going to call it check the values of street 1 street 2. Okay, then I'm going to start configuring my data. So the field which I'm going to be checking first is address 1 street 1. The operator is if it does not contain data. And I'm just going to click on apply. Then I want to configure another rule which checks the address 1 street 2 and if that contains data. Okay, so basically address 1 street 1 does not contain data and address 1 street 2 contains data. If you want, you can change the rule to OR logic if it's needed, but in our case AND is applicable. Okay, so just click on apply. Okay, so your business rules condition is added. Now what you can do is you can start adding your actions. So we'll call components and then just clicking on show error message and dropping it over here. That is if it satisfies the condition that street 2 contains data and street 1 does not. Okay, so if that's the case, I'm going to throw error message for street 1. Then choose the field in which that error message will appear. So the error message will appear in address 1 street 1 field. And then I'm going to enter a message saying enter data for address 1 street 1. Okay, and I'm just going to click on apply. And then I'm also going to make it business required so that the user is forced to enter data over there. I'm going to make this address 1 street 1 business required. Set address 1 street 1 to business required. Just click on apply. Okay, now going to components and then I'm going to configure an action if it does not satisfy the condition. So I'm just going to make sure that if the condition is not satisfying, that is if maybe if street 2 itself does not contain data, or that street 1 contains data and street 2 does not, and so on. Okay, so in those kind of scenarios, I want to make sure that the address 1 street 1 is not business required. So I'm just going to say set address 1 street 1 as not required. Okay, then I'm just going to click on apply. Okay, my business rule is configured. I'm going to validated. Validation is successful. Now let me go ahead and save it. Now I'm going to activate it. I'm going to click on activate. Okay, so now it is activated. Now I'm just going to publish my customizations. Okay, so once the changes are published, I'm going to minimize that and I'm going to do an empty cache and hard reload first. Okay, so once the empty cache and hard reload is done, going down, let me enter data for address 1, street 2 alone. So I'm going to something like this. Then I'm going to place my cursor somewhere else. So there you go. The error message is saying that enter data for address 1, street 1, and it is set to business required. So now if I remove this data, the error message should be gone and this field should no longer be business required. Let's see what happens. So there you go. The field is no longer business required and the error message is gone. So that is how you use the show error message action in business rules. In the next video, we'll look at the recommendation action in business rules.